Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another untold story from music history. These stories matter, and your support helps keep them alive. Robbie Robertson and Levon Helm were never just coworkers in a band. They were brothers forged by hardship, music, and shared dreams. Together, they created songs that reshaped rock forever. But behind the harmony was a silence that grew louder with time. A silence filled with resentment, pain, and misunderstanding. Fans saw legends. They lived a tragedy. And near the end, one truth finally came to light. A truth that changed how we see their bond. This is their story. Their journey began long before fame ever found them. In the late 1950s, Levon Helm was a teenager from Arkansas. He joined Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks with raw passion. His drumming was fierce, his voice unforgettable. Soon after, a young Canadian guitarist arrived, Robbie Robertson. Quiet, observant, and hungry to learn. Alongside Rick Danko, Richard Manuel, and Garth Hudson, they became more than a backing band. They became a family on the road. A family built on music. By the mid-1960s, destiny knocked loudly. Bob Dylan asked them to join his electric tour. Folk purists were furious. Crowds booed. Hostility filled the air every night. But Robbie and Levon stood shoulder to shoulder, facing hatred together, growing stronger together. That shared struggle bonded them deeply. They survived something most bands couldn't. In 1968, the world finally heard them for who they were. Music from Big Pink changed everything. Then came the band. Songs felt ancient and new at the same time. Stories of America, hardship, and hope. Robertson wrote the words. Helm gave them a soul. His voice sounded lived in and honest. At that moment, they were inseparable. Brothers in every sense. Robbie later said Levon was the closest thing he ever had to a brother. But brotherhood can be fragile. Success brings pressure. Money brings questions. Credit brings resentment. As fame grew, cracks quietly formed. No shouting. No explosions. Just distance. And unspoken frustration. By the early 1970s, the band was exhausted. Touring was relentless. Drugs took their toll. Albums like Stage Fright reflected inner chaos. The joy of music was fading. Robbie pushed forward creatively. Levon wanted to protect their roots. Neither was wrong. But neither truly listened. The divide widened. Everything changed with the Last Waltz in 1976. To Robbie, it was a graceful goodbye. A celebration of legacy. To Levon, it felt like betrayal. Martin Scorsese's film focused heavily on Robertson. Levon felt erased. Overshadowed. Rewritten. That hurt never healed. It hardened into anger. After the farewell, Robbie stepped away from touring. Levon stayed on the road. Money became tight. Health issues emerged. Bitterness grew. What once was brotherhood turned into blame. Levon believed Robbie took too much credit. Too much control. Too much money. The feud was born. For years, the conflict stayed mostly private. Then came 1993. Levon released This Wheel's on Fire. His words were raw and unforgiving. He accused Robbie publicly. Fans were shocked. The band was no longer a myth of equality. Robertson stayed mostly silent. Not out of guilt, but sadness. He felt blindsided. Robbie later said they had never argued during the band's run. Not once. That made the bitterness harder to understand. To him, Levon's anger felt sudden. Unreachable. But Levon was fighting demons. Financial stress. Illness. Throat cancer stole his voice. Pain looked for somewhere to land. Despite everything, Robbie never stopped caring. He still called Levon his brother, even when the love wasn't returned. That silence between them grew heavy, yet it never erased their shared past. The music remained. The memories remained. The bond remained, broken but real. And then came 2012. The final chapter. Levon Helm was dying. Cancer had returned aggressively. Time was running out. Robbie knew this might be his last chance. So he went to the hospital. No cameras. No audience. Just two men. Two lives intertwined. One last goodbye. Robbie later wrote about that visit. He remembered laughter. Music. The early days. He called Levon extraordinary. An older brother. He expressed gratitude for that final moment. Love replaced resentment. At least on one side. It was quiet. And deeply human. Levon passed away on April 19, 2012. The world mourned. Fans expected Robbie to honor him publicly, especially at the Grammys. But when the tribute aired, he was absent. Questions flooded in. Rumors spread. Confusion grew. The truth came later. And it shocked many. The decision was Robbie. According to the band's former tour manager, Levon's widow, Sandy Helm, asked that Robbie not perform. Old wounds still ruled. Even after death. Some understood. Some didn't. To many fans, it felt tragic. A final door slammed shut. No reconciliation on stage. Robbie never publicly protested. He accepted it quietly. His goodbye had already happened. At Levon's bedside. Not under lights. Not for applause. That mattered more to him. Still, the absence was symbolic. A feud unresolved. Even beyond life. In later interviews, Robbie spoke gently. No bitterness. No defense. Only sorrow. He said he couldn't fix Levon's pain. That hurt him deeply. But he chose forgiveness. He chose memory over anger. Music over conflict. Love over ego. Robbie's life was shaped by complex family truths. He learned his biological father was murdered before his birth. Identity was never simple for him. Perhaps that's why brotherhood meant so much. Perhaps that's why losing Levon hurt so deeply. A brother gained. A brother lost. A brother never fully forgiven. Some wounds don't close. They simply quiet down. Robbie Robertson passed away on August 9, 2023. He was 80. Surrounded by family. Loved and respected across generations. Martin Scorsese honored him with a tribute concert. Artists gathered in respect. Yet one absence echoed loudly. Levon Helm. Still missing. Still unresolved. Fans continue to debate who was right. Who was wrong. Who deserved more credit. But the truth is rarely clean. Both men carried pain. Both men gave everything. Together, they created something eternal. Apart, they suffered. Their story isn't about blame. It's about loss. Robbie's final truth was simple. He never stopped loving Levon Helm. Even when that love wasn't returned. Even when the door stayed closed. Even when forgiveness never came. That honesty shocked fans. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was human. And painfully real. Brotherhood isn't always mutual. Their music remains untouched by the feud. It still breathes. Still speaks. Still heals. In every harmony, both voices exist. No credits can change that. No arguments can erase that. History remembers them together. As it should. As it must. So what do you think? Should Robbie have been allowed to honor Levon publicly? Or was Sandy Helm right to protect old wounds? Is forgiveness necessary or optional? There are no easy answers. Only perspectives. Only feelings. Only stories. And this one still hurts, even decades later. If this story moved you, like the video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Music history isn't just about songs. It's about people. And sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones left unfinished.